mean, even if he won the last 2 rounds, did he win any of the beginning ones? Feels like Alistair won the first 3 rounds of the fight.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. I don't want to say Riot Share Revolutionaries because this is definitely not a Riot Share related topic. I mentioned before that I want to, I'm doing the film stuff on another channel, but I'm going to start incorporating fitness and MMA stuff into this channel. And one of the things I wanted to do was talk about, like, betting on UFC events, putting wagers down on fights. Because I'm a huge fan of MMA, and I used to be like a huge, I never missed an event. I knew about all the fighters. I knew their records. I followed more than just the UFC. I was definitely, there's a website called MMA Junkie. I was definitely an MMA junkie. I don't have time for that as much now. I'm much more of a casual fan. But I definitely feel that I can start making some content that's going to be interesting, that's MMA related. And the best way I think I can present that is something I haven't seen on YouTube that much, and it's talking about placing money on these events and trying to win money, and like what you can win, right? So yesterday, I believe the event was UFC Fight Night, UFC on ESPN 7. So I'm gonna go into like betting logic. I didn't win at all. I came very close on one of them. I'm not betting on individual fights. I'm betting on parlays, because on parlays, for example, on the one I bet yesterday, I put $20 on a 6-fight parlay. If all 6 of my picks would have won, I would have won $736. And I came pretty close. So that's why I like betting on parlays, because you have the opportunity to win a ton of money on a relatively small amount, a small wager. So, yeah, let's go right into it. And I did 2 different wagers. I did one on Bet Online, and I did one on DraftKings. And the reason is even though I felt confident in my picks on Bet Online, I also, on DraftKings, I wanted to bet on the people I actually wanted to win. So I had a smart money bet, and then I had a, favorite bet. So let's just go right into it right now. I guess I can show we'll go one by one. I started on the preliminary card. That was the first fight that I put a wager on for the 6-fight parlay was Tim Means versus Thiago Alves. And I know, like, a lot of you, like, if you're not interested in this kind of content, it's fine. I'm not going to get offended. But some of you are MMA fans. It's such a fast-growing and entertaining sport. But anyway. So I decided my pick for that fight would be Tim Means. I definitely thought Tim Means was the favorite going into it. Thiago Alves is a great fighter, but he's getting up there in age. He hasn't been as consistent as he used to be. He's not as sharp as he used to be. So I just figured the safe bet would have been Tim Means, and I was right, because he scored a nasty knockdown and then got the submission very early, like halfway through the first round. So I was right on that one. And then the second fight, I was actually eating dinner with my girlfriend when this fight was going on. She had a little get-together at her house. So I didn't watch any of the fight until like the last minute and a half of the fight. And that fight was Rob Font. Oh, let me go to the main card here. That fight was Rob Font versus Ricky Simon. Simon was the favorite going into the fight, and from what I understand, he was controlling the fight very well in the first round, but then Rob Font came back, scored decision. So on Bet Online, I was 2 for 2, right, out of my 6 picks. On DraftKings, I was 1 out of 3, because I did a bad pick. I did a really bad pick. My first pick was Wyman versus Selecki, and Selecki ran him over, and I picked Wyman. So up to this point in the card, I've only got 1 out of 3 on DraftKings and 2 out of 2 on Bet Online. So I'm like, I'm looking good. So going back, I did not. Oh yeah, and then on DraftKings, I had this one on my. And DraftKings is a little different. DraftKings, it's like you pick a lineup out of 6 fights, and the better your lineup does, the higher up in the rankings you get. The higher up in the rankings you get, the more money you stand to earn out of a pool. Okay, so on DraftKings, I picked Song Yadong versus Stammen, yeah, and that was an interesting fight. That really was, and like I said, that fight was on DraftKings. Song was definitely in control, or is it Yadong Song? It's Yadong Song, right? Yeah. Yadong Song was definitely in control in the first round and second round, but he scored an illegal knee early on in the first round, so they deducted a point, and then that fight went to a draw. So that might have fucked up a lot of different people's bets on DraftKings. And then back to BetOnline for the Aspen Lad and Yana Kunitskaya fight. I actually did bet on the underdog, Yana Kunitskaya, just because they both, like, Aspen Lad had a good record going into it. I was gambling in this one. I was just like, I didn't know anything about these fighters, so I was just kind of like, let's see. I don't know. It was just a wild bet, pretty much. And then that one ruined my parlay. So that, out of the 6 fights, that one completely scrapped it because my pick lost. So if you have one loss, then that kills your bet. So then the next fight was Stefan Struve versus Ben Rothwell, heavyweight fight. I picked Stefan Struve on my favorite pick on DraftKings, but smart money, I figured it was Ben Rothwell, because Ben Rothwell, even though he hasn't been active, he's still a dangerous fighter. He's a heavy hitter. Struve kind of does dumb shit sometimes. He doesn't fight smart a lot. And even though Struve was fighting smart, and there was 2 huge low blows landed in that fight, Ben scored the finish with like 3 seconds left in the second round. So on BetOnline, now I'm 3 out of 4. So the next fight was Marina Rodriguez versus Cynthia Calvillo. And this one was interesting because it looked like Marina was really controlling the fight in the first round. And then the second round was a bit of a toss-up, and I did pick the underdog again. I picked Cynthia Calvillo. And then I guess Cynthia really controlled the third round, so I didn't really, like, there was a party going on, so I didn't really get a chance to, like, hear the scores and everything like that. But they declared that one a draw. So there was no winner and no loser, just like the Yadong Song and the Stammen fight. So those 2 draws on the same main card, which I don't think that ever happens. So as of right now, I'm calling that as a half, because even though I picked Calvillo to win, she didn't lose. So right now I'm 3.5 out of 5 picks. And then the main event, which I picked Overeem on DraftKings because I think he's a great fighter, but sometimes he's got a suspect chin, they say. That's where he seems like he gets knocked out easily for some reason. And this fight was all over. I would say the first and second round was all over him. His opponent, Rosenstruck, was definitely coming back in the third and fourth round. So the fifth round, I've seen different articles about it. A lot of them were giving rounds 1, 2, and 4 to Overeem. I disagree. Or rounds 1, 2, and 3, some of them, but I disagree. I thought it was going in there. I thought they were definitely tied on the scoreboards going into the fifth round, even though Rosenstruck did not look comfortable on his back. He did not look like he didn't look like he knew how to grapple that well. Like, he looked okay on his feet, but in terms of clinch and wrestling and jiu-jitsu, just didn't look like a professional. But he stuck it in there, and then he scored a disgusting knockout with 4 seconds left in the fifth round that completely split over it. He gave Overeem a third lip. It was disgusting. So that ended the night with 4.5 out of my picks out of 6. So, I know it's not a win. It's definitely not a win, and I'd be celebrating way more if I won $738 on a $20 bet. And on DraftKings, I had 1 pick win. But then again, I explained before, DraftKings was my favorite list versus my, smart money versus, who I actually want to win. So yeah, 4.5 out of 6 really isn't bad. I mean, if I would have just, oh shit, I got a ping. If I would have only picked 4 fights, you know, like if I would have picked the Overeem fight, the Rothwell fight, Rob Font, and Calvillo, I still would have came close. So I mean, that's the beauty of it, guys. You never know what's gonna happen in MMA, and that's why this. I'm gonna try this out, and I'm gonna incorporate some of my buddies that used to fight in this. My one buddy out in Texas, he knows fighters, so we're gonna try to turn this into something kind of small. And like I said, I know it's not rideshare related, but I am branching out into different types of content. Just you have to, you know, like rideshare. It's kind of getting old sometimes, isn't it? Like there's only so much to talk about in rideshare news and everything like that. And I told you guys before, I do not want to become an Uber and Lyft outrage channel. There's some stuff going on behind the scenes right now that I'm talking about with like the journalists and everything like that. But I don't want to become a bellyacher. I don't want to be a complainer. That's not how I want to have my social media profile going forward, right? That's just not me. But I do want to branch out and make other kind of content that hopefully people can enjoy. And if we ever start winning money, you know, because there might be 3 or 4 of us doing like a group discussion on these things, then maybe some of you could be like, oh yeah, I can stand to lose $20 to potentially make 500, 600. You know, this might be beneficial for some of you guys who never really bet on UFC events or anything like that before. So look forward to that. Next week is one of the biggest cards of the year. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be fun. So let me know what you guys think. And I'm sorry for the long video, and I know it's not really, I didn't do a great job of explaining everything, but first attempt at new content. So everyone please take care out there, and I'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay driven, stay classy. Bye-bye.